Hey guys, this is Bonfrey, and you are watching FOE Advance. I am normally in Ephesus and occasionally in L World, and I wanted to discuss what has in the past been one of my favorite events, the Halloween event, as I'm just going to call it. But when I started this city in Ephesus, this event sort of marks a 1-year anniversary here for me in Ephesus from when I started, and actually about a year and a month. What I thought I would share with you today is drilling in on a few of the buildings that are actually still available this season that I found to be extremely useful from when I first started here and actually endured the test of time in my city. There are some buildings that, from the past event that I strived for that, or some were easy pickings, and I just didn't see those lasting in my city, and they're in storage now. But what I thought you might find interesting is for me to talk about why, now that I'm very well established in Ephesus, why I still have some of these buildings in my city, and the relevancy being that you can still access the ones I'm going to talk about through the Clown's counter store, whatever this thing's called. So as you progress through the event, the buildings that I'm going to talk about are available. Certainly there are more new things available, and I'm not really going to go into that because I don't have any experience with those buildings, and that's just for all of us to figure out. But I wanted to sort of help shed some light on why I think certain buildings are useful. So let's just dive in. So one of the buildings that has really lasting value for me, and I'll explain why for each one. And you may play a different game than myself, so you may not find this interesting. But the Enchanted Elixirs Emporium has had a lot of lasting value, and in my case, I was able to get a good number of them. I think I've got about 12 of them or something like that, and that has been and is still useful to me because specifically of the next stage goods that it provides, and finished special productions. So if you look here, there's a 20% chance of actually getting a full finished special production, a full FSP. That is really generous. I mean, this building helped, or these buildings have helped me end up with hundreds of FSPs. In fact, I think I'm almost at 1,000. I use them. I have to sit down and make time to make use of that many. Specifically when I'm trying to perhaps age up or do something in particular. But the point is that getting a full FSP is pretty insane. And the next stage goods, when that hits occasionally as well, is really handy, especially when you're getting into the higher eras. When you get into SAM and so forth, where you have the need to mine goods in a fairly inefficient way, and it's hard to get going and get your colony established. It takes time. I don't say it's hard. It's just a blocker, to starting to develop goods. So what's nice is when I was aging up in the higher eras, I was already banking next year of goods. And of course, the 50 per recharge QI benefit is pretty cool. I mean, this is somewhat standard on a lot of buildings now, but this was sort of a sweet spot, I think, last year before Inno kind of really went deep on the Ascended model, that mechanic of the game, which I think is fine. I like that variable, but some buildings just have lasting value, and I really think the Enchanted Elixirs do. And that is a building that you can choose to purchase in the counter, 30 kitties, black kitties. So anyway, let's move on to my next building of choice. Perhaps a little less exciting than the Enchanted Elixirs, but what I like is about the Yaga's Roost, and I'll explain how you get this, is that it has the random units production, but it also gives renovation kits. So ultimately it gives 3 fragments of a reno kit. So in number, you get renos, and it's got the 50 plus 50 QI recharge cycle, which is nice. I feel like these are sort of borderline for my city at this point because I keep spawning the Yukutomo Empires. And what's going to be neat is if you're going to play the holiday event, there's a big upgrade coming for the Yuki Empires. So stay tuned for that. Obviously in the game, I may make a video about that. Don't know, but the Yaga's Roost. So the way you end up with that is you go into, you want to get a Dark Legends selection kit. So somewhere in here is that kit. Here we go. And you can choose the cemetery or the roost. If you look at both of these, you'll probably determine the roost is better. But I really liked, when I was earlier in the game, I liked the random units, of course, when I was not building a Traz, that kind of thing. But the Reno kit was really a plus. 25 goods to the not to the treasure, sorry, 25 random goods, and the QI plus. I mean, QI benefit. It's this one I'm on the bubble about continuing with in my city just because I have so much other stuff going on, and now, we've got these other QI bonus buildings. But I wanted to point it out because it's been good, up to this point. I think I'm going to probably store that one. But for some of you with newer cities or in earlier eras, I think that could be a helpful building. Let's see, the new one, the Ribbit retreat. So the Ribbit retreat I hadn't noticed before the last event. I don't know if that's been around or not. I don't know the history of it, but it caught my eye because it was really cheap in the last event, the Fellowship event, and I was like, hey, I'm going to pick some of those up in my cities that aren't as advanced as this one that I play. Like, I think I picked it up on beta and earlier on and some other stuff. But what I like about the Ribbit retreat is that it is fairly low cost to acquire and it's pretty upgradable. So I'm sorry, I'm just flipping here. I'm going to go down to the Ascended area. So what I've noticed, and maybe you're noticing this too, is that between events, they'll offer, will offer, say, the retreat itself. In this case, the Ribbit retreat was the last event. So I stocked up on some of those, but the Ascended is now available in this event. So you can't actually get the base building, but you can get the Ascended part of the Ribbit retreat here. So anyway, that's available here for 10 bats. So it is a long play, but I think it's probably worth it. So even if you didn't get any Ribbit retreats and you look at the benefits of both, obviously they show you the base building here, which again isn't available from what I can tell in this event, but you get the Ascended and tons of QI benefits, really strong blue defense for QI, and just some other buffs. I mean, 200 FP in a day, not bad for a month of light work if you pick that up for a pretty low cost. So I wanted to call that one out. That is a newer building. So the next building I wanted to talk about that I've stuck with is the Blueberry Field. So here I've got an Ascended next to a non-Ascended one. So I like the 9 random next stage units. Having some of these has been really helpful, again, when aging up, especially in earlier eras. I mean, obviously it's helpful in any era when you're aging up or you're not aging up, right? Like I have one account that's sitting in CA right now and has been for a while, and it just it really helps because then I can fight with indie units, which helps even more, right, in terms of my benefit. And I'm not really doing an HAU or higher age unit strategy, but having next stage units has been super helpful. So Blueberry Fields in general, I really like. The other benefits are fine, that you get with it, but the 9 NAUs at least at Space Age Titan, it's not as many. I think that number is not as high in earlier eras, but so what? It's still a benefit. Now, if you go Ascended, and the reason I'm talking about Blueberry Field is that the Ascended option is available right now. With this event. So now in SAT, it goes to 18 next stage units, more FP, some, +5 quantum units. So it's just an awesome units building, so there's, I believe in the event, in the Clowns counter, there is a way to pick up the blueberry field. You can just buy it. Yeah. So right now in my case, it's 20% off. 8 bats, really good deal. So I'll stock up on some of these because they're still going to be useful even in this city because I'm not quite to Sash yet. So Sash is my next move, but I have to get through where I'm at right now to get there. So bearing that, we have 2 more buildings that I wanted to discuss. The Erie Nightmare Coaster, at least in my case, where I ended up with this particular platform was the Erie Nightmare Coaster. I believe there may be some buffs on this available. I haven't looked into it too much, but I've been really happy, at least for this event, with where these are even at right now. Still useful to me, and I'll go into the details. And then lastly, there will be the Ectoplasmic Nightmare Kit, which comes, which is a kit that you choose, and then the Monster Ranch Nightmare Box. And I'll explain why I like the Monster Ranch Nightmare Box. So let's go to the Erie Nightmare Coaster. So something I've noticed, and please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, is there are upgrades available for the Erie Nightmare Coaster that I noticed in the store, in the merchant, but not the selection kit for the building itself. So hopefully if you're after this building, you have at least a level 1. And then if you're interested in going deeper on it, you can get the upgrades. It does require a number of upgrades, and I'll jump into that in a minute. But just as sat where I'm at right now, the reason I initially liked this building early on was it was giving me units, and it was also giving me the same age units, but it was giving me mass self-aid fragments, which obviously is a big deal as your city grows. I always try to prioritize any building that gives me mass self-aid kits. Now, at some point you reach critical mass, you don't need, to be generating probably more than 1 mass self-aid kit a day. I've talked about other strategies with the holiday event where if you get the guard shacks and things like that in the Nutcracker guard shacks, you can get mass self-aid kits as well. But it's been nice to see other buildings creep in that give you that. And of course, that's not exclusive to this building now. I mean, a lot has changed in the last year, but I also like the random 200 goods at a 50% hit or the 250 previous age goods. So just generally a really good building. Plus, as a Halloween event building, the fact that it gives plus positive population is really cool, because that is one thing I should just mention. Overall, you got to watch for negative population or negative happiness. Most of the time with the Halloween events, negative happiness, right? So here, minus 32,000 in my case. But I love the fact that it gives me population, because that's what I've run into more than the happiness thing. And it's debatable how valuable happiness is as a factor, but I don't want to open that can of worms right now. So let's get to what's available regarding the Nightmare Coaster. So if we go in here, I saw, and again, this I looked through the prizes available on the quest line. I did not see any selection kits available for the Erie Coaster. So what I did see available were upgrade kits. So I'm going to try to find, this is Mad Scientist. Here we go. So there's a Thrill Ride Coaster upgrade kit, which is where you take the level 1, and then if you get enough of these, you run it all the way up to level 8. Okay, then and at 10 bats, that's a pretty good deal. Again, this predicates that you have to have a level 1, assuming there's no selection kit anywhere else in this event. You can buy the silver as well, and then you can buy the gold if you choose, which is basically where I'm at, the Erie Nightmare Coaster golden level. So that's what gives me those stats that I was just talking about. So that is the upgrade path. Relatively low cost overall. I mean, the fact that it's all bats, and so you're 80 to get it all the way up here, 80 bats, and then they're 15. This is a full pop, right? That's 95. So for like 125 bats, you can get one of these fully upgraded, which, I mean, this was a super premium building last year, and there's a reason why. I ended up with a bunch of them, and they're big. And now that I have so many mass self-aid kits. I may actually put these away because they take up a lot of space. But up to this point, they've been fantastic. Like, no complaints. But again, if you're the type of player who's really into city efficiency, land efficiency tiles and so forth, this is probably not going to be anything you're going to go after, right? You just have to weigh it out and play the game your way. I was sort of going for a certain look, being that I've been playing the game for so long. I've sort of wanted to manicure my cities like based on theme. Like, my city in L right now looks way different than it used to. From my past videos that you may have seen, I've mostly set it up to be like a fall and Christmas theme, which is fun. I've got a lot of stuff in storage that could probably give me higher boosts and things, but I don't really care. So let's talk about the last thing, the last building, which was the Monster Ranch Nightmare Box. So the Ectoplasmic Nightmare Kit, once again available in the Clown's counter. It's in here somewhere, I promise. I'm not even going to try to waste our time and find it again. Right here. So the Monster Ranch Nightmare, why I like this building: it's small, it doesn't need a road, and it gives store buildings. And so by peppering these around your city, you can really, really increase your depth on store buildings, which, the rest of the stats I kind of don't even care about. But having store buildings, is super valuable. And this is one of the only buildings I've come across that consistently provides that. It's just a matter of whether you get 5 fragments or 1 fragment, but you're always gaining fragments for store buildings. And now I'm up to like several hundred of them, and at a, very low space cost. So, that building is a huge thumbs up, in my opinion, from that standpoint. So, that's it. Those are things that I highly recommend you look closely at in this event, since they are still available. They had lasting value in my city. The ones that didn't make it, the test of time were like the Joker stuff. Like, they were giving these out last year like crazy. And you could upgrade them to like malevolent and sinister and all that stuff. But they stuck around for a few months, and then I was like, nah, I don't really need these things. So that's an example of a special building that just didn't make it. And then now the abandoned asylums, those were a thing, and I'm just not even going to get into that. I stored mine. I have the highest upgraded asylums, but the Phantom abandoned, and this was really helpful early on with QI, and I may put these back out at some point, but my QI stats are so high using other buildings and the size of this thing, 25 squares. It's just sort of like, and it doesn't give any other sort of semi-exotic prizes like store building or FSPs, things like that. So this building is just still a little bit too simple for the size, and just not high enough output. So again, that was one I went after, and it was great for a while. But again, it just doesn't stand the test of time if you have a city that's growing like crazy, and you keep adding features and playing these events with all the power creep. So anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to you. That's the whole reason I do this. This is not a highly monetized channel. I just do it for the passion of the game, and because I've been just doing it for so long. So I appreciate your comments and your support over the years. I do continue to operate a guild in Ephesus. You're welcome to hit me up to join it. It's just called Bond's YT Guild, like Bond's YouTube Guild, and that's with an apostrophe S. And if you want to join here, we'll help you out. We maintain a level lock thread that I overpay. That's one of the nice features of our guild, is that I have a P1 lock thread. So being that I have a 180 arc, and for newer players, we help you get prints, we help you get leveled up fast, and it's just a lot of help, a lot of fun. And again, I'll if anybody posts a GB here they're working on, I'll just lock it no matter how much extra FP it costs me. So anyway, come and hit us up over in Ephesus if you want to start a new world. It's a lot of fun, especially for seasoned players. I've invited some friends from L that we've been playing, a dozen years together, and some have come over and joined, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to just start with a new lens, especially with how much the game has changed. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.